Hi everyone, Assalamualaikum. Hope so you all are fine. So now in this lecture I will tell you how the TCP establishes its connection. Before the sending device and the receiving device starts the exchange of data, both devices need to be synchronized. This means that before the client and server communicating with each other or sharing their data with each other, they must be synchronized with each other. During the TCP initialization process, the sending device and the receiving device exchange a few control packets for synchronization purpose. This exchange is known as a three-way handshake. So the three-way handshake is like exchange of a few control packets for synchronization purposes. So the three-way handshake begins with the initiator, or you say this is a client. This one is the initiator that initiate the process, okay, that may start the process, that's sending the TCP segment with the sync control bit flag set. So the TCP allows one side to establish a connection, the other side may either accept the connection or refuse. So it's up to the server to may accept the connection or to may refuse it. If we consider this from application layer point of view, the side that is establishing the connection is the client and the side that is waiting for the connection is the server. TCP identifies two types of open calls. So you just remember these two types. The first one is active open and the second one is passive open. So active open call is a client process using TCP takes the active role and initiates the connection by sending a TCP sync message to start the connection. So this call that is sending to the server is called active. Okay, so this is basically active open. What really active open is, it's like the initiator of connection, initiator of communication, connecting the TCP sync message to start the connection. So this is basically initiator, the starter. And passive open is basically, you can say, the server process or waiting for an active open from a specific client. It does not generate any TCP message segment. The server process is listening for the client are in passive open mode. So this one, the server here is in passive open mode. So I hope this thing is quite clear what really the active mode is and what really the passive mode is. Okay, so this is the passive mode open and this is the active open mode. So now let's come towards the three-way handshake, and we will see here in step 1, this first step, a device A, that is client. So this one here is A, and send TCP segment with the sync of 1 with the acknowledgement of 0 and the initial sequence number is 2000. So the active open device A, send a segment with a sync flag set to 1. So now this active open device just sending the packet with a sync number 1 and initial sequence number is 2000, for example, which marks the beginning of the sequence number for data that device A will transmit. Sync is short for synchronization. Sync flags announces an attempt to open a connection. The first byte transmitted to device B will have a sequence number ISN plus 1. So this sequence number ISN here plus 1. So this sequence number added here and it just received on this point, and this is the device B. So I hope you understand this. Let's recap it. And device A sends the TCP segment with the sync of 1 and the acknowledgement of 0 and the initial sequence number is 2000. So the active open device, which is A, sends the segment with the sync flag set 1, acknowledgement flag set to 0 and an initial sequence number is 2000, which marks the beginning of the sequence number for data that device A will transmit. So the sequence number is marked. Sync flag announces an attempt to open a connection. The first byte transmitted the device first byte of A transmitted to device B with a sequence number of ISN plus 1. So this is just transmitted here. So now let's see what happened in step 2. So in step 2, this one here is a step 2. So this device B receives A's TCP segment and return a TCP segment with the, now this device will send back a sync message with 1. Okay, So now device B receives a device A's TCP segment and return a TCP segment with sync equals to 1. Now the sync goes to 1, acknowledgement is 1. Okay, so the acknowledgement is 1 and the sync is 1, and initial sequence number is 5000. Device B's initial sequence number. So this is device B's initial number, and the acknowledgement number is goes to +1. So what happened is, at the A point, now the sync is 1 that is received by the server, acknowledgement number is 1. So what we send in our first step, we send sync as 1 and the acknowledgement number 0. When you received here, it just increment the acknowledgement number 1 and the sync number as the 1, that shows that now the server received it and now it replies back that now the server is connected with the client. And this is the last step where the connection is finally established. So in this step, what happens is, device A sends a TCP segment to device B that acknowledgement receipt of device B's initial sequence number with flag set as sync message, sync number as 0. Now the sync number is 0. Okay, so you have to understand is, right now the A reset the sync number into 0 and the sequence number is the same as 2001 2001 and the acknowledgement number is 5001. The next sequence number device A expecting from device B. This handshaking technique is referred to as the three-way handshake because it's like the way is, at first it sync, then it says sync and acknowledge, and the last step is acknowledgement. So these are the 3 steps here. As you are seeing, in the last step, now the acknowledgement is received, that shows that server saying, oh, I received your client message. Now the connection is established. Client confirming from server, that acknowledgement shows this is the only server to whom it sent the message, it's not someone else. Okay, and then the acknowledgement shows that now the client is alive and now it's receiving, now it will receive my message. So this is basically a three-way handshake, and if you have any question you can ask me and inshallah I will answer it. So after this three-way handshake, the connection is open and the participant computer starts sending data using the sequence and acknowledgement number. So thank you so much and we'll meet you in next lecture. Allah Hafiz.